Modern Nomads is a weekly program about Kazakh compatriots who try to save Kazakh traditions for the current and next generations. And for those who are interested in the culture and history of ancient Kazakh nomads, watch us every week on Kazakh TV.
The Kazakh yurt is the center of steppe culture accumulated over centuries. Creating such yurts was an ancient tradition of the nomadic Kazakhs. It was regarded as a separate celebration to create and decorate one's yurt, because our ancestors used to live in such houses made of wooden lattice and large felt mats. They became a nation and set a khanat, living in such a portable, easy-to-travel shelter. That is why yurts take a special place in the nation's culture.
Кигіз үйді сол мына 98 жылдан бастап жасадық. Үй ағаштан басталды ғой бұл. Мына керегені сол талдан жасайды, кәрия тор көздейді екен, 17 көк. Осы керегені жасайды.
We've been creating this yurt since 1998. The house started from wood. The wooden lattice wall was made by our older father. It is called the net eye. He made this wooden lattice and made a yurt with 90 rafters and 6 panels in 1 year. The inner part was done by my mother. Decorated cheatgrass, woolen braids, insulations, and ropes were done by my mother. After they were completed, it took part in many contests. In 2002, they took part in a regional competition. And in 2001, they went to Akozen. And this yurt was set up for the shooting of Kun Baike film. They also set this yurt during the Nauruz celebration.
Күнбике деген кинауын алып, оған алып шықты сол түрлі жарыстарда. Осы биылға дейін осы наурыздарда қатынасып, осылай келетінде де осы көктемде наурызда қатынасыпты. Кореялар тегіпті сол жерде.
This white yurt is especially brought from the Tikes region in China, which is densely populated by Kazakh people. In China, there is a good view of Kazakh culture. That is why our relatives in such a faraway place still have not lost connection with Kazakh art and culture. This house was renovated 3 times during the last 20 years because it was displayed at various big poetry contests, exhibitions, and competitions, and they took main places. Its main peculiarity is that everything inside it started from the carpet and felt on the floor until the decorations on the top skylight are handmade from natural materials. They are made with a lot of patience and hard work, and thus they are highly appreciated nowadays. Nowadays, many processes are eased. For instance, the threads readily come from factories. But you can easily see the difference between those that are manufactured and those that are handmade. Especially, it's very difficult to weave the shegrass. We would collect it when it was raining. Then it was weaved based on prepared ornaments. Moreover, it is particularly difficult to weave and decorate not only 1 but 3 shegrass items. This is an art that can be done by 1 in a million people. Because if you have a look at the decorative shegrass, you can notice the beauty of all the ornaments and their coherent organization in terms of geometry rules. You can't find any extra items. The people who make them haven't even finished the schools. They have in their blood the love and passion for this art that came from their ancestors. That is why they've paid attention to every detail and its harmonic settings in the bigger picture.
Әрбір деталдарын, әрбір элементтерінің артық емес, кем емес, дәл үйлесіп тауым қарағалған.
The yurts originated in the 3rd millennium BC during the Bronze Age. This is stated by historian ethnographer. It is difficult to say exactly how the history of the yurts developed, but it is obvious that it has a rich history of hundreds of years, as it is accompanied by our nomadic ancestors. The yurt is a common shelter of many nomadic nations. However, each nation has its own peculiar shanarak, or skylight. The Kazakh yurts had stomach put on lattice walls, which made the houses look bigger. The Mongols didn't use that, and their skylight is lower, with shorter rafters, and that makes less space inside the yurt. The Kyrgyz and Turkmen yurts are similar to ours, with slight differences in ornaments. The Kazakh yurts vary depending on the building structure and size, and also depending on the social status of the owner. For instance, the yurt of a rich one and a poor one have many differences. It is worth talking about some traditions here. When the girl would grow up and have around half a year to leave the parents' house and get married, they would live in a special separate yurt. One of her brother's wives also would live with her and teach her how to deal with daily chores, to cook and look after the house. This yurt was called oval houses. The tradition is mainly forgotten now, but some regions would like to do it in such a way. And there is another interesting tradition that might not be taking place anywhere else except for in the Kazakh land. The girl who did not get married on time also has a separate yurt with all the needed furniture inside of it. They used to call it a pure house, while some offer other names. Young men would come to this house and eat meals and have a look at the girl's dowry. A yurt is like a model of a half of planet Earth, and everything lives in this world like a sphere. Even the universe is like a sphere. According to the nomadic culture, the yurt is like the first half of man's life on this world. That is why the Kazakhs have many traditions and prohibitions related to the yurt, which is not only a shelter for them, but also a skylight of its culture and traditions.
Ал енді тағы бір көзімізбен көрген ерекшелікті айтайық. Мынау қара шаңырақ деген қасиетті ұғым бар Қазақта.
There is a sacred notion of a black shanarak in Kazakh culture. In our village, the black shanarak is the center of Jamanko's dynasty, which is located in the house of a person called Nomads. Also, the neighbors with Olshar Apa during the summer pastures, and we used to go to her black shanarak and get her blessing before going away to study or travel. Also, we have observed one case when the black shanarak was near the road, and the woman who is married to the man of that family, while passing this house, would get off of the horse about 400 or 500 meters and walk. This means showing great respect for the center, where the dynasty got its start. And even if they are passing nearby it, they would walk, and if they had time, they would visit it. While if they're in a hurry, they would just pass by in other ways. This tradition, which is showing respect to the house, is disappearing nowadays. We have personally seen such great traditions as showing respect to the elderly and getting their blessing and respecting the house. Still, there is a Kazakh tradition to visit such a black shanarak or a skylight to see how they are doing and to have tea with them.
Солардың қал жағдайын білу, ол міндетті түрде қазақтың дәстүрінде бар дүние.
Not only is a yurt a house, but it is also an amazing work of art that combines architecture, construction, design, craftsmanship, as well as several other art forms. This is made of wood, felt, straw, and leather, as well as silver and gold. It is also a type of nomadic building, so the yurt is a treasury of the Kazakh people.
Жалпы қазақ баласы мынау үйге қарай атпен шауып келмейді.
Kazakhs never drive a horse straight to the house. To do so is a sign of passing news on the death or war. People do not come straight to the door. The person who comes to the right side of the house gives a sound outside of the house. While entering the door, starting with the right foot, the person greets the owner saying, "Assalamu alaikum." If somebody comes to the house and starts talking standing outside, the elderly would say, "Kneel down," or "Have you brought fire?" If you come in a rush, say what you need and rush out. This is also a sign of low ethics. The Kazakhs would leave their horses away from the house, fold their whip in two, and enter the house. As not folding your whip means that you came with bad intentions. The person comes inside, get down on one knee. The owners of the house would offer the guest various dishes. If the guest is in a hurry, they would offer ready ones like mare milk, milk of a camel, or bread. After he gets his breath, the guest can share the aim of his visit and of the favor that he is asking for. Guests are always offered the main place at the table. In old times, people would understand fortune and craftsmanship of the family by looking at the handmade items in the house. If there were everything needed for the household and the house was flourishing, the girls who marry men from this house, or the girls raised there, would be considered as hardworking, creative, and skilled. It was everybody's dream to marry a girl from such a family, or to have their daughter join them as well. Felt with ornaments on the wall, a folding screen used to be on the right side of the yurt. Having a folding screen inside of the yurt was a sign that the just married young people, and especially the bride, were living in the house. We had such traditions in our village, and we have seen wives of our brothers who came to our houses. The new brides would have white silk shawls put on their heads and used to wear it during the first year of marriage. After 1 year, they would hang it in the house and wear it when they were invited to the fire to help serve guests. One of those left on the entrance would be placed like kitchenware. On the main areas inside of the yurt, there is the opposite side to the entrance, with blankets and chests were situated. On the embroidered felt, the main blankets are placed, and also there is a pillow to lean on and have a rest. Overall, everything inside of the yurt was placed in a harmonic order. Speaking of prohibitions, there were mainly such as not to sweep the house at night, or when guests come, and clank dishes when they are inside the house, and many others. In Kazakh culture, there is a proverb that if you start teaching them when they're 6, they will succeed, or when they are 7, they will reach great heights, meaning that teaching girls handiwork and boys blacksmith work is a traditional way of upbringing that brought a lot to the people. The girls would make her dowry herself, and a boy would make his own instruments and saddle elements for his horse. This approach would teach both boys and girls to cherish their own things.
Қазақтың тағы бір ерекшелігі бұл енші беру деген дүние бар. Жеңгелері қайындарына.
One of the Kazakh traditions is to allocate a share of the property. Sisters-in-law would make things that would be shared by their junior brothers and sisters when they get married. Also, brothers would make things that would be necessary for a new house. My mother and sister-in-laws are very skilled and talented women. You can see many signature things that they made in this house. Since I was the youngest in the family, they gave me my own share from the items that they made with a great hard work and patience. These things are embroidered felt, and we are sitting on them. The main area of the blanket, and also the special cover that needs to cover all the blankets put into one place. And this cover is decorated with pearls. There is also a special cover for clothes as well. All of these items, including the pillows, were made by my sister-in-law, Bahar Gul, who said, "I want these things to be my brother-in-law's house when he gets married." All this felt with ornaments and folded screens on our right are made by my brother, Nurlijam. They also have prepared similar things for me. All of this shows the ways to increase special warm relations between sisters-in-law, brothers-in-law, which are also important in the Kazakh families.
жаңағы бір-біріне жақындастыра түсу, бір-біріне мейір махаббатын арттыра түсуді көрсетеді. Бұл да жаңағы қазақ үйінде кем болса болмайтын дүние.
The heritage that arrived passing the Alatau Mountains is now set up on the motherland. This was a dream of the old Sabet, who is the owner of this famous white yurt known in China and the Ili regions. His dream came true. His next aim is connected to the year that will strengthen the status of Alash, situated in the main area of the Arka steppe.
Енді ол кісінің ең үлкен арманы осы қолдан жасалған кереметтей дүниені, кереметтей қазақтың үйін 2010.
The biggest dream of this person is to display his handmade, beautiful yurt during the International Expo that will take place in Astana in 2017, thus showing the Kazakh culture, its craftsmanship and heritage to the world. Because any person from any nation will be amazed when he or she sees this beauty. And if we show this yurt at the exhibition, the guests will have a more positive view of Kazakh culture. If we have the main aim to promote Kazakh nation, we should do this through the arts that we have received from our ancestors. That is why he brought this yurt earlier, according to his plan. I hope that he will realize his plan there